Hey everybody, this is Troy Alexander, Inspiration with Troy Alexander. I am excited to be here today with another amazing guest, and I'm so grateful that she agreed to be with us on our broadcast today. I'm telling you right now, this is about inspiring and encouraging everybody to follow their dream. You know what my motto is: dream, take that step, and walk with purpose into your destiny. So tonight, I am excited about what is to come. Oh my goodness, she is amazing, phenomenal, powerful. And listen, again, I'll say what our motto is: dream, take that step, and walk with purpose into your destiny. So you can follow us on Facebook, Troy Alexander. You can follow us, oh my goodness, on YouTube, Inspiration with Troy Alexander Live. And my goodness, also, you can follow us as well, our nonprofit, calltoinspire.org. Calltoinspire.org. I have one point of purpose that I want to share with you before we introduce our amazing guest. My goodness, listen, I put on Facebook the other day, remember, despite what it may look like, the caterpillar was still born to fly. I'm telling you, listen, you got to know that you were born for purpose, that you were born for destiny, and this is what it is all about. So again, I am excited tonight to have our amazing guest. And listen, she began preaching. She's been preaching since the age of 15. She is the author, my goodness, of a book called Unmasking, The Real Me. And guess what? She is the oldest daughter of 9 siblings. Yes, I said it, 9 siblings. And listen, she also an associate degree in human services. And she graduates in May of 2023 with her bachelor's degree in social work. And my goodness, she was also the president of the school's campus Christian Club from 2019 to 2021. Let's welcome TATYANA FERRER. How are you, TATYANA?
Hi, thank you so much, Mr. Troy Alexander, for having me for having me on your show. This is an amazing show. I watch this show all the time. And so I'm just so honored to be on here today. And I'm just so excited that you chose me as a guest to be on your show. And thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. It is truly an honor, and I'm so grateful for you agreeing to be a guest on our broadcast. So my first question, TATYANA, I got to ask you. I see that you began preaching at the age of 15. So I got to ask you, as you were growing up, did you see any other path for you as you were growing up?
No, I didn't. I mean, it's a no and yes, because growing up, I was very shy and I was very quiet. So everything you see me doing right now is kind of out of my normal. I can only give credit to God, because God, being saved at 13, I'm telling you, it changed the whole path of my life. Because before I became saved, I was just so quiet. I was going through low self-esteem. I was going through these battles of not feeling confident in myself. And so that relationship with Christ was important for me to have in order to be where I am today. And so before I knew Christ, I could not have been able to, even speak publicly or preach the gospel or write a book or do anything public, because I was just so shy and just a quiet person. In fact, I did not even want to be seen like that. I wasn't the person that wanted to be out in front of people. I wanted to be in the corner somewhere, not being seen, being quiet. That was the type of person that I was as a child before I received Christ. And so now, after that, I begin to be more confident. I begin to become more bold. I begin to, have my voice after knowing Christ for myself.
Wow. Listen, Tatya, that is amazing. And again, I applaud you, because again, I would have never known that you were shy. That
Yeah.
would be like, so listen, that is so powerful and amazing. So I got to ask you, what was your process like, right? Because even when you gave your life to Christ, right, at 13, and then how did you know that preaching, that the ministry was your calling?
Wow. Wow. That's big. So I grew up with a lot of bishops, pastors, all throughout my family. My dad is a pastor. My grandfather was a bishop. And so I was born and raised in the church. And so I knew that I was supposed to do something in ministry, but I didn't exactly know what I was supposed to be doing in ministry. But for me, like you said, you mentioned a process. It starts from a process. I began with poetry, and poetry was my outlet. You know, I was suffering from, I was bullied in school, and I suffered with low self-esteem. And so the outlet for me was writing, and journaling turned into poetry, and then poetry turned into sermons. And so as I was developing my love for poetry, God began to say, you know what, add some scripture in there, or add the word of God in there. And that's how I began to really start knowing that I was meant to speak the gospel.
Wow.
Was the passion I had for writing poetry.
Wow, that is amazing, Tatiana. And so then my next question follows. You know, it's one thing to write words on a page. It's one thing to even add scriptures to your poetry, but to be in front of people or even in front of a camera, right? That's a whole nother level of transparency, right?
Yeah.
And being real. Tell me about, like, was it easy for you to get in front of a camera and speak, or go in the church and share a word?
That was the hardest thing to do for me, was coming out of my shell. I was coming from a point where I did not want to be seen. I just wanted to just be in the corner. And so I had to work. I thank God for the elders in my church. I thank God for the training that I received at my church. And I don't know if there's young people watching, or younger people, or older people watching, but you need to have a safe circle around you. People that can advise you, people that can teach you, people that can push you to where you don't believe that you can go. Because if I did not have those type of people, like my parents, like my bishop, like people around me who loved me and cared about me and believed and saw the good stuff that I didn't see yet. Because sometimes other people need to see it for us to believe it. And so having those people around me, pushing me, giving the advice, you know, I had to be pushed out of my comfort zone. You know, it wasn't easy the first time, but once you continue to do it, you become used to it. It becomes like nothing to you anymore. Once you get in there, once you start, you know, once you literally start the process, nothing could stop you.
Wow.
But when
Wow.
I'm not gonna start anything, I'm just gonna wait, I'm just gonna do that, then you won't get where you want to be.
Wow. Wow. Listen, a powerful word, Tatiana. And I gotta ask you, you know, at the age of 15, right, to be called into the ministry in that assignment in terms of preaching, did you have any doubts within you at all, being 15 and sharing a word that those who may be senior to you, much senior to you, would actually receive the word that was given to you to share? Did any of those doubts ever come?
Yeah, I definitely had a Jeremiah experience. Because it's like when you're so young, people just automatically assume that you're this way. You're just a wild child, you know, because they assume that you want to go out on the streets and party, and you want to do all these typical things that people do your age. But I knew from a very young age that I was different. I was not like anyone else. I was not interested in those things. I didn't want to go party. I didn't want to go, smoking. I didn't want to go do the things that my typical age group would do. But sometimes I would just notice that because it's my age, because I'm so young, they would say, you're young. How do you know this? How do you know that? And it's just like, God does not, discriminate based on age. He doesn't even discriminate based on race or gender. He just wants a willing vessel. In fact, he says that he will use his sons and daughters and his young people to prophesy and to dream dreams, and he will use the young people to lead the generation. And so I had to go within myself and know that God had called me for this.
Wow.
Because if I did not, I would have just stopped and say, I'm too young. I can't do this. And I did go through a moment where I was comparing myself a lot. And that could have destroyed me, because I just felt like, I was so young, and I was just, people think, this is what people think. They think because you're young, you haven't experienced anything. You haven't gone through anything. But there is a lot of young people who have a lot of wisdom. They have a lot of knowledge. They might have not gone through, so many things that, elder people have gone through, but they have gone through their personal journey that they can share with you. How do they start believing in God?
Wow.
And how do they keep going? So, yeah.
Wow. Listen, I that is something that I wanted to even explore further, because you talked about having to deal with comparisons, right? You said your father, and I think you said your grandfather, right?
Yes.
And I can only imagine having a family that's in ministry, right? To have all of these things. How did you come to a place of peace to say, you know what, this is who I am? I saw a video of you on Instagram and describing who you are, right?
Yeah.
How did you get to that place of peace to say, you know what, I'm not my father. I'm not even my I'm not even, but I'm me. Was there a moment? Do you recall how you got to the place where you said, you know what, I just have to be me?
I got to that place. It took a while for me to get to that place. But I got to that place actually through ministry. I would get off the pulpit and people said, wow, that word, that transparency, you sharing that testimony literally changed my life, literally touched my heart. And they said, I thank you for using the gift that God gave you. And so it was just those things that people, and even with my book, that came out, it was the same thing I'm receiving is the transparency level. A lot of people are needing transparency. They need to know that you went through depression, that you went through low self-esteem. They need to know that you can relate to them in a certain kind of way so that you can change their lives, so that you can motivate them at an even higher level. And so those words that when I finish speaking a message or reading a poem or doing anything like that, and people say that blessed me, it shows me that, you know what, the way I did it, the way I said it, the way I put it out there, blessed their lives. And if I would have tried to do something else a different way, it wouldn't have the same impact. Because I remember trying to be someone else. I remember trying to do things like other people. And I would literally fail every time. So sometimes the failures make you also realize, your failures make you realize, that's not the way to go. You have to go this way, the most way that you're effective. So it's kind of like a mix of receiving those encouragements and as well as trial and error. You got to try some things out to see what works for you.
Listen, Tatiana, I just want to say you are like talking about the authentic you. And I love that about you. I love that about you. And it is a joy and it is inspiring. And you are encouraging so many tonight who are watching this now live and who will watch it later on to say what, thank you for sharing that part of your journey. And I got to ask, there's so much that happens when people recognize their calling and their assignments, whatever they may want to define it as in the ministry.
Yeah.
And what happens is, or what I've seen is, when they recognize it, and they accept it, it causes or can cause a shift in the other parts of their life. And I wanted to ask you, because sometimes that can be uncomfortable. When you accepted this calling, did things shift for you in any way? And if so, how was that? And what was that? And how did you deal with that?
I would say, yes, it shifted to me. It shifted in my life for a positive and a challenging way. Because, and I'm going to go with the challenging way first, because what everyone has to recognize and when you're called by God and God has anointed you, or God has literally chosen you, there's going to be some challenges. There's going to be people who try to stop you. There's going to be people who are intimidated by you. There's going to even be people who don't like you for being you. And
wow.
You can't allow that to stop you. You can not allow other people's opinions of you stop you from what God has called you to do. Because I really see, not even, because the thing about it is, like, with ministry, it spills over into every part of your life. It spills over into your career. It spills over into your education. Well, personally for me, it spills over to every area of my life. It's like, for some reason, people can see with their eyes that you're anointed, that you're chosen, that you're called, that you're destined for greatness. And some people love it, and then some people hate it.
Wow. Wow.
So you have to be okay with the people that hate it. You have to not allow that to stop you from moving forward, because there are people who need you to do what God has called you to do.
Wow,
and
Tatiana.
On the positive side,
yes.
I would definitely say that it has made me more confident in every area of my life. It has made me more confident in my career and my education, and even in business. Because, it's a certain level of confidence that comes when you know that God is by your side, when you know that God is with you, when you know that God is directing your path, then nothing can stop you. You feel like you're unstoppable. And so ministry has definitely encouraged me to be more confident and have more direction on where I need to go, what I need to do.
Listen, all I can say, Tatiana, is please let me know when your tickets go on sale for your motivational tour, because I want to be in the auditorium and in the stadium. So please make sure you send me the link, please. Thank you. So I just want to, and I want to just listen. It's powerful, and I don't want to even go into all the haters, even in his family with Joseph, because look where, their that experience took Joseph right from the pit, I heard, right to the palace, right? So it's amazing how, even though, but not that it was easy, right, to have your family be against you and not want to be happy for your assignment, right? But thank God that you were able to press through all those who did not agree with what God said yes to. So, so I wanted to ask you really quick about I heard something called Toddy Talks. Is that the right name of it?
Yes, yes.
Can you tell me more about that and how that came about, please?
Okay, again, that came about really, it was basically, it came from me, I used to be in a place that I already explained that I was really to myself. And I didn't really talk much. I didn't really experience, I didn't really come up my shell. And so what Tati Talks, I really had to name my, I started doing encouraging videos at like 15 years old on Facebook. I would just go on, I usually pick Thursday, but sometimes God would change the day or whatever. But I used to just choose a day and just go on live and to motivate people and give them a word of encouragement. And it literally has grown into me doing discussions with people. I have done group discussions with people. We have talked about dating in this generation. We have talked about ministry. We have talked about so many common topics today. And so I seen that ministry, that talking ministry grow to such a level that people are able to come on to just discuss these topics and to share their opinions or perspectives about certain ideas, because everyone has a different perspective, and it's just good to learn from each other and just learn from the people around you. So I use my Tati Talks to just talk with other people and see where their minds or positions or thoughts are on certain topics.
Well, I love it. I love it. And continue to give space and opportunity for others to come out of their shell and to be able to share their story and their journey. And not only that, everybody, she went on and decided to write a book. Yeah, I said it. A book. I got it right here. Yep, I'm going to get the glare out. I'm telling you right, it is Unmasking the Real Me. TATYANA FERRER, listen, I am so proud of you and all that you're doing, but I got to ask you, because now you decided to pin something for the world to see. Tell me about that, about the emotional pathway and journey to be, because what happens, or what I find is, when you have to rethink where you've been and rethink all of those emotional experiences and engagement and interaction with them, sometimes it causes you to relive them. Tell me about this book, and did it have any of that type of impact upon you?
Oh my God, that's such an amazing question. I just want to say that. Yes, writing that book was not easy, because it, like you said, it took me back to where I used to be. And the emotions, like I relived everything, like you said, and the emotions. I mean, I literally cried writing this book, because it's like going through the low self-esteem and going through, the confidence issues and going through not believing in yourself. It takes a toll on you, and it really makes you think about, all the things that you've been through and all the things that were hurtful to you. But then when I think about how God brought me over, and then when I think about how I'm helping other people to come out, and when I think about how I'm helping other people to know that they're not by themselves, that is the biggest thing that help me. And I'm going to tell you this. There's some things I wanted to keep out of the book.
Wow.
There's some things I wanted to omit. There's some things I didn't want to put in there. But it's like when I wrote the book, God kept telling me, put this in there, leave it in there, because he wanted me to be 100% transparent about my journey, about what I went through, what it was like to experience this, because many people are scared to tell their story because they feel like nobody will understand them, or that no one has been through that. So yes, it was very difficult to share some things. And I'm going to tell you this. a lot of it was, I was scared to, you know, mess up the image that I might, you know, mess up my image, because a lot of people, you know, they look at me as like a motivational person, and, you know, she's a motivator, she's an encourager. How could she possibly have gone through this stuff? But, you know, you go through and it helps you to grow. It helps you to become better. And so I went all through all those things, and it made me a better person. And I was glad to share this, to be transparent, to help other people know that they're not alone. And so they can turn to God. The whole book is not about me. It's called Unmasking the Real Me, but it's not about me. It's about
Wow.
people that Jesus can deliver you from anything that you're going through. That's what it's about.
Listen, Tatiana, what that was a powerful word that you just gave, in terms of not wanting or having a fear of
Yeah.
what others might think of you now, knowing where you come from.
Yeah.
And that is so that actually goes right into my next question about, because I love the chapter headings in your book, right? And again, I don't want to, you know, give them all away and all that, but there was so much that I saw in this book, and I want to get to the specific question that I had. My goodness, but there was a chapter that talked about, I'm not perfect, and I was like, wow, you know, to be a preacher, to be in a family that has ministry like all over everywhere, right?
Yeah.
To admit I'm not perfect. Like, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I want to ask, why did you feel it was important to have a chapter in the book about that?
I felt like it was very necessary, because my generation has really been running away from the church. And I feel that it's because they feel like they have to be perfect.
Wow.
They feel like they have to have it all together in order for
Wow.
God to. They feel like they have to, you know, be this amazing person to come to God. But the thing is that God wants you when you're broken, when you're afraid, when you're battling with an addiction. God still wants you. When you're battling with a difficult challenge in your life, when you are having these negative thoughts, when you anywhere you are right now, God wants you, because he is the one, because you cannot clean up yourself. You can't free yourself. You can't do it by yourself.
Wow.
But you have to let God know what it is that you're struggling with, what it is that the first thing is that you have to admit that you're not perfect,
Wow.
that you have a problem, that you had issues. And that is when God will say, okay, I can help you, because you have humbled yourself to say, I need some help.
Wow.
You have humbled yourself to say, I need to be delivered. I need to be freed. And so for that chapter, I wanted to let people know that the grace of God is sufficient. If you go to God and you feel like you're so messed up, still go to God, because he will free you. He will clean you up.
Wow,
Amen.
Tatiana. Wow. Wow. So what now my next question, I gotta ask you, why now? Why did you feel that this was the time? Right? Somebody could say, well, you know, 5 years from now, or maybe even 2. What moved you to say, you know
Wow.
what, now is the time that I need to release this book?
I want to say is a two-part to this, because the first thing is, God kept telling me, God kept through people. He told me personally, and then he kept telling me through people Like he told me through different, I would go on Facebook lives, like, and they would say, oh, God told you have to write this book, write this book. And then I would go to services and they will say, God told you to write a book, right? And then eventually I was like, okay, God must be really speaking to me. He must be really telling me to write this book. And the other aspect to this was that I was looking at my generation and I was looking at this world. This world does not really have a positive outlet for young people. You know, for the most part, you know, the media is so negative. The media is a very negative place. And I don't see those people that are, I see it a little bit, but I don't see it as much. I don't see those people who want to, you know, encourage people to live for Christ, who want to encourage people to do things God's way. Those things I don't really see. So I wanted to write this book to be relatable, to say, you know what, I understand where you're coming from, but also what mixing it in the expectation of God. So I wanted to be relatable, but also to turn it back to the Bible and to turn it back to what God has to say about it. So that was really my two reasons for doing that, was just to inspire people on a positive level and also to just be obedient to what God wanted me to do.
Wow. Wow. Well, we're so proud of you. So proud of you and all that God is doing through you. And again, I cannot say it again. Please send me the link to your tour, please, because I'm excited for you and what God has for you. So I gotta ask you, how long did it take to write the book?
Yeah, it took a little longer than I wanted to, because I wanted it to be done a little quicker, like, because I was going to school and working full time, and it was just a lot of things that I was doing, so I couldn't do it quicker. But it was like two and a half years that it took to write this book. The thing is that I had already been doing journaling and all that stuff. And so it came together as from journaling, from writing in the journal, from just taking things down that God was telling me to write down. And so 2.5 years, that's about how long it took.
Wow. Wow. And the reason why I wanted to ask, right, because I want people to understand each individual's personal journey, right, and the process by which it actually is produced. So thank you for sharing that, Tatiana. Yeah. And so now I want to ask you, because we're always unmasking things, right? We're always, you know, exploring new spaces that God has for us that maybe we don't or haven't explored before, right? You know, faith, something, hopefully the evidence of things not seen. So sometimes he'll tell us to go in places that right. We've never thought about. So I wanted to ask you, is there a second book already in the works? If you're allowed to share.
A lot of people, you know, have been asking me that question. Right now, I'm not working on the second book as right now. Okay. I want to let this first book, you know, set in a little bit, get to as much people as it can possibly get to.
Absolutely.
Because I want people, you know the part 1 before they get the part 2.
Wow. Okay.
So I want to wait until, you know, the first one really, you know, gets where I want it to be. And then I'll do part 2 when it gets really where I want it to be.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you and what's coming next, because I know there's more. So whether it's a book, whether it's a movie, whether it's whatever it might be, I know there's more coming. So I'm excited for you. So excited for you. So I want to ask you, I know a lot of PKs, right? Oof. I know a lot of pastors' kids. And I'll be very transparent. I'm married into that. You know, my wife's father is the bishop, and he's our pastor as well. And so I see sometimes through different, because I'm involved with the church a lot, and so I see sometimes the pastor's kids, sometimes they have, or there's an expectation that the
Yeah.
children are going to follow in the ministry of their parents. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts. Did at any point, like, you feel like, you know what, this is, you know, until you got saved, until God called you, did you feel any way that, you know what, this is like a path that is expected kind of for the family and the children to go into?
Yeah. For me, like, I feel like my whole family, okay, I'm the only one as far as a child who speaks the gospel, like preaches at different churches, whatever. But each of us have our own separate gifts. And we use our gifts differently. Some of us, we use our gifts, more, behind the scenes, more behind the scenes.
Right.
And then some are more upfront, you know. But I I do feel like I'm expected to be a leader in the church. Just because people always, say, you remind me of your dad, and you remind me of, how your dad speak. Everywhere I go to preach the gospel, they always be like, oh, you sound like your dad. And I just be like, okay. Like, sometimes it's a compliment.
Right.
And then, sometimes it's just like, I kind of just want to be me, but you know, but I just right now I don't want to pressure myself into anything because at okay, I am a licensed minister, and I was licensed at what, like 22, and before then I was like, I don't really care about the titles. I just want to share the gospel. I just want to share the word of God. But with certain things, it requires you to do things in order. And so these titles come into play. But honestly, I just want to do what God wants me to do. I don't want to, I don't want any people to pressure me to go a certain way, or anybody to say, you have to be this, that. I just want to do what God wants me to do. That's it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I love that. So I want to ask you, like, we all went through the pandemic,
Mhm.
right? And I know that sometimes the churches were closed, or some closed for a short while, and maybe some even didn't close. But, going through that experience, how would you say your connection with God? Because some struggled because they couldn't go into the building in different churches in different areas. And some actually grew stronger with God. Can you share with us your experience in terms of your connection with God during the pandemic?
Yeah, yes. During the pandemic, I was more of the person, the group of people that got closer to God, because it was not the outside distractions. It wasn't, it wasn't people, distracting you, or things, you didn't have to be so you were more inside the house. So it's like you had to, like, do things independently. And that's really when I really start finishing up my book, and doing those
Oh,
things. I was able to hear from God more clearly, because the pandemic actually blessed me in a lot of ways. It allowed me to hear God more clearly, and to read the Bible more, and to pray more, and to just fast more, and to get closer to him, because I used to pray for like 5 minutes. And through the pandemic, I was able to now do hours of prayer. And so,
wow.
and so through the pandemic, I was able to just, become closer and become deeper with God. And that actually, made me better in a lot of ways. So I thank God for the pandemic in a lot of ways.
Wow. Wow. Listen, thank you for sharing, because so many, um, yeah, they got to know God greater in the pandemic. And I love that, the sharing that you just gave to us, Tatiana. So I want to ask you this. Oh my goodness. Um, you are the oldest daughter of 9 siblings. So please tell us, first of all, how many brothers and how many sisters?
Okay, so all right, I am the oldest daughter. I'm 23. I have an older brother. Then I have a younger brother. He is 1 year old. And then I have 6 younger sisters.
Wow.
Let me tell you, a lot of times I felt like the third parent.
I can imagine. I can
Because
imagine.
you always have to, make sure they're good, make sure they
Uh-huh.
take them and encourage them to follow their path. I always try to give them advice on things that I've been through and, the steps that they need to take to get to where they want to be. Because I always tell them, faith without works is dead. You could have all the faith, but you have to put in that work. And so I always, try to lead by example through what I do. But sometimes, conversations to make a lot of like having those conversations are important. But with siblings, we have different personalities. We have different personalities. So, sometimes it's a little different, how siblings are.
well, well, listen. This even says to me how much even more amazing you are, because I'm asking myself, you're the oldest daughter, right? Which comes with added added responsibilities, I'm sure,
Yeah.
as you share, right? And then having your parents be in the ministry, you're helping to support. And I'm saying to
Yeah.
myself, how did you have time to even find you? Because you were having all these other roles and titles and
Yeah.
expectations and carrying a lot of things to support others, from your parents, your siblings, to all, I'm sure, even else, being in school and all else that you're doing. How did you even find yourself?
Wow. That's a deep question. Oh my gosh. So my sister's right here. She said, "Oh, I'm one of the sisters." Uh, I think it's really that personal time. You have to, even though it's so difficult. It's so difficult because I'm that person. I want to be such a big help to everybody. I want to do everything I can in my power to help people. I'm my dad. I'm his right hand person. Like if he needs anything, I will be right there with him. But you have to take that time for yourself and self-care, whether that is, going to the library or going to Top Golf or, doing things outside of your career or ministry. Taking that time out for yourself plays a big role. And I just want to touch on one thing. When I was a Christian club president, I was able to meet friends. I was able to meet people that I could be around and, just have fun. I don't have to, do much. I can just be myself. I can just have fun. I can just, do fun things. And so God will put those people in your life that you can be able to just be yourself and just to have fun and enjoy life. Because you don't want to just always work and have no fun, you know.
Right.
So you want to have fun and work as well, but you want to make sure that the people in your life are the people that God wants to be in your life, because that matters a lot, who your relationships are with, because really who you're hanging out with, it plays a role in who you become and things like that. It reflects on who you are. Like one of the scriptures that I love, bad company corrupts good morals. So if you have good morals but you hang around with bad company, that doesn't look good for you. But you want to hang around those people, have those friends that you trust and that you can talk to and call them up and just be yourself with.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm so glad that through all of the sibling conversations and all of the things that you were doing, that you were still able to find yourself. And
Yeah.
I love that about you. Just awesome and wonderful. So I wanted to ask you this. What does the publication of this book, I'm going to share it again. What does the publication of this book mean to you? When you finished it, when it was complete, it was done, there was no more to write for this chapter, for this book. What did it mean to you?
Listen, I was a big ball of emotion. Like, I'm telling you, like, I was just so emotional. It was just a mixture of just being so happy. Just, it's like in the midst, it was like something like spiritual also. It's like I'm
Yes.
closing the past. I'm closing the chapter of my past and I'm moving forward.
Wow.
Like, it was just like, everything that's spoken into that book that happened in the past, it's over. You have to put those things in the past. It was like the scripture that reminded me that says, when you come into Christ, old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. And so when I finished that book, it was like I was closing one chapter of my life and I'm entering into another chapter of my life where I have learned so much that I can use to even go higher, even to accomplish more. And so that first book, finishing that first book was like just me closing the first chapter of my life and just moving forward from what hurt me, moving forward from what, destroyed me, well, what tried to destroy me, and moving on to greater things and taking those lessons that I learned from the past to allow me to become better, allow me to get to a higher successful level. And so the ending of that book allowed me to just close the chapter of my past,
Wow. Wow. I'm telling you, whether #1 bestseller, I'm telling you, whether the best tour, I'm telling you, I'm coming, TATYANA. I'm coming to see you speak, because I'm telling you, God has such a bigger platform that's ordained for you. Because what I loved about what you shared and what I've heard you say, you want to empower women and young women, or you want to empower everybody, but you definitely have a love for young women and women to empower them, and that's powerful. So thank you so much for sharing that. My goodness, so much there. And I also wanted to ask you not only that, but you have your associate degree in human services, and you
Yes.
graduate in May of this year with your bachelor's degree in social work. Yes.
I'm excited.
So
It's
so
a way to get. It took a long way to get there. Believe in your children, because I'm gonna say this. In 6th grade, I was struggling so bad with math that I had to repeat the 6th grade. And that broke me. That nearly broke me. But then when I chose to continue on, it's something about me that I think it's just God that just helps me to just keep on going, no matter what. And then once I went to another school, they said, you know what? You have enough credits to be in the 11th grade. Mind you, I came into that school being a 10th grader.
Wow.
I came into the school 10th grader, and they skipped me to the 11th grade. I literally had like a couple months in the 11th grade. Basically, I was a senior by the time that I moved. And then I was able to it was like God was just like pushing me to the right place in my life. And I'm going to tell every parent, every child, don't stop believing in yourself. Don't stop believing in where you want to be in life. God can do a quick turnaround in your life that you won't even know what happened. You will literally forget all that you've been through because God just moved you to such a higher level.
Wow.
So I encourage someone, don't give up. Keep pushing, keep moving.
Wow. Listen, I just have a few more. I want to go back to just one point. And you talked about being bullied, right? So we're unmasking, right? So I saw this video of you, and you talked about how you even dealt with acne, and
Yeah.
you talked about, beauty and the definition of beautiful. I wanted to ask you, what age were you when you dealt with that? And then I wanted to also follow up and ask you, how did you get through that? Because some people don't, right? They go a different way, and sometimes it's a negative way in terms of how they feel about themselves and how they treat themselves to find peace. How did you get through that?
Definitely, definitely. I want to say it started when I was about 12 or 13. It was right before I received Christ. And literally, even after I received Christ, it still took time. It was just not like a snap of a finger that you become, just confident about how you look, because mostly women, we care about our physical looks. We care about how we look on the outside. We care about, how we are seen by the public eye. And so, having acne was terrible for me. Like I was just so emotional, and I just felt like, literally, I felt like I was ugly. I'm just going to tell you that. I just felt like I was,
Wow.
and I dealt with that for a long time. And I'm going to tell you this, like my mother, she played a big role and why I decided to, stop beating up myself so much,
Wow.
because sometimes we could internalize the things that people have said about us and make it become our reality. And, those people who said all those rude things to me, I can't allow it to define who I am. And my mom was like telling me that everyone has a flaw about themselves that they don't like. There's people who don't like that they have short hair. They don't like that they're tall. They don't like that this, that. But there's somebody who finds your flaw as the most beautiful thing about you. There's somebody who finds you to be a beautiful person. So you have to first know in your mind that you're beautiful before anybody else can see that you're beautiful.
Wow. Wow.
And so I had to work on loving myself. I had to work on seeing that I was beautiful. And I love the
Wow.
quote that says, it's a special quote that says this. I believe it says, help us to accept the things that we can't change and change. I forgot the whole quote, but
I know you're talking about.
yeah,
I know.
the things that you can change, but if you can't change it, you just accept it. And you do what you can to make it better, but some things you have to accept about yourself. And I definitely have come a long way. I've done things to help myself become more confident. And I recognize now that everyone has there's a different meaning of beauty.
Yeah.
Beauty is not only one way. There's people with short hair that's beautiful, long hair that's beautiful, dark skin. Beauty comes in different shades, different, ways. So you are beautiful. You have to know that. You have to know that.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Tatiana, for sharing that. And again, you are amazing. You're phenomenal. You're beautiful. You're just awesome. All of those great things. You are just that and more. I'm so proud of you. I am so beyond proud of you. I know your parents are. Your sibling, everybody. Again, I'm in the cheering section of Tatiana because I am so proud of you. And again, with your graduation coming up in May, again, another place, another plateau that God has blessed you to reach. And again, so proud of you. Is there more on your vision board that you would like to achieve?
There's a lot more. I just want to I just feel like the sky is the limit for me. Like I just want to do so much. It's so funny. You mentioned a movie. I want to do a movie. I do want to do a movie. I don't know specifically what I want to do in the movie or what I want it to be about, but I want it to be transparent, of course. And I want it to be Christian based, of course. But I want to do a movie. I want to travel the world. I want to go to different places and see different things. I wanted to always go to Greece for some reason. I've always wanted to go to Greece and Hawaii and all these different places. I want to spread the word of Jesus Christ in my own way. You know, some people think it's just all about Bible, but this book, I want this book to hit the whole world. I want it to touch everyone's lives across the nation. And that's really what I want to do with my life. And I want to inspire people in my own way. If that's through my book or through my preaching or through anything, but I always want to make sure people recognize Jesus Christ and everything. I just always want to turn the light back always to Christ, to let people know that Jesus saves, that Jesus free people. But you know, that's really what I want to do in my life. Yeah.
Well, listen, all I can say is, like the Lord told Abraham, look to the north, look to the south, the west, and the east. Everywhere, as far as you can see, that I've given unto you. And then he said to Joshua, which I'm telling to you, Tatiana, listen, everywhere the sole of your feet walk on, God said, I've given it to you. So just keep on walking and believing and say, God, wherever you lead me, I'll go. Whether it's Greece, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, wherever you tell me to go, I'm going. And so I'm excited for you. So I'm just so excited for all that you are and who you are. And I just know that there's more for you. So in our closing, just a few more questions I want to ask you. And how can people connect with you? If people want to find you on social media or help to buy your book, where can people go to connect with you?
Yes. You can definitely buy my book at www.tatyanaferrer.com. TATYANA Ferrer, FERRER.com. It's also on Barnes and Nobles. It's also on Amazon. It's also on Books A Million. For social media, you can follow me on Facebook, Tatyana Ferrer. I'm on Instagram too, Tatyana_Ferrer123, and TikTok, Tati Talks.
Awesome. Well, listen, please go get this amazing book. I'm going to share it again, Unmasking the Real Me, Tatyana Ferrer. And again, we're so proud of you. So I wanted to ask, is there anyone that you would like to acknowledge? Now, sometimes people don't want to call out names and go there, but if there's anyone that you want to acknowledge that's been a part of your journey thus far.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank God for my parents. I mean, that goes without saying. They have pushed me throughout my whole entire life. I mean, they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. They know where I was heading before I could even see where I was heading. And so I thank God for giving me God-fearing parents who love each other and who loves God and who support me in everything that I do, whether it's ministry, whether it's education, whatever I do, my parents are there for me 100%. And I thank God for them so much, for being so supportive of me. And I want to thank God for you, Troy Alexander. I mean, this platform is amazing. I see all the great, amazing work you're doing on here. You're giving people opportunity to share their story, to share, their process. And that means a lot. I just want to pray that God continues to bless your platform, to continue to keep you moving, keep you motivated, and to allow you to continue to help people the way you've been helping them. I also thank God for my grandfather who passed away. Both of my grandfathers. Thank God for them being such a good role model in my life as well, and pushing me and motivating me as well. That's about it.
Well, thank you. I'm humbled to be included in that. You can't make the host cry, on his own show. Okay, you can't do that. But thank you so much. I'm humbled and honored. Your parents are amazing. They are amazing. I'm so proud of them as well. And just your mom, your dad, just doing amazing things. So I just have two more questions. One is there anything else that you want to share with us about your journey that we missed? Again, you had talked about what you're going to, again, being the president of your school's campus Christian club for 2019 to 2021. We know the movie is soon to come out at some point in time. We know that the second book or whatever but your tour going to Greece, Hawaii, although those are coming. Is there more that you want to share with us about your journey thus far?
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm a people person all around for the most part. Like with my ministry, I love people. I love to share with people, but also with my career, I am in social work. So I also help people too. So this is social work and helping people. It's just my passion. It's just what I love to do. It's just how I guess God has built me to just help people and to be there for people. I want to let everyone know, if you ever need a prayer, if you ever need a motivational word, whatever it is, don't be afraid to just contact me and just ask me to pray for you or ask me to give you a motivation or whatever it needs, because I don't like people to feel like they're alone, because I've been to that place. And we're all family in God, and we should be able to push each other. We should be able to motivate each other. And so I'm there for you guys. And I thank God for all of the people who supported me in my book, who continue to literally support me and buying the book. And just when I preach, you're supporting me, and everything I do, you're supporting me. I just thank all of my supporters for being there for me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tatyana. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to give you a moment. Do you want to share any final inspiring words for those who may not believe that their dreams can come true? They have a hard time seeing that come to pass. Can you share just an inspiring word? And then we'll close the show from there.
Okay. Yes, my inspiring word is to remain authentically you. Remain unique. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to do what other people do. Don't allow yourself to become in the position where you compare yourself to other people. And also don't compare your time frame to others, because your time is not other people's time. You have to know that you have your own process. You have your own time. You have your own life lane that you're in. So allow God to push you in your own lane. Don't get in anyone else's lane, because that's not where you belong. But allow God to literally order your steps and where he wants you to be and what he wants you to do. You can do anything that you put your mind to if you just believe in yourself and if you have God to direct you.
Thank you, Tatyana Ferrer. I'm so proud of you, everybody. Please, let's give it up for Tatyana Ferrer. Listen, again, this is Inspiration with Troy Alexander. We come on and have amazing guests to uplift and inspire you to hold on to your dream. Again, our motto, dream, take that step and walk with purpose into your destiny. Thank you so much, Tatyana. I so appreciate you. You are amazing, and I can't wait to get your autograph on my book and to get my ticket for your tour. So I'm excited about what's coming next. Thank you all for your love and support. I appreciate you so much. Continue to follow your dream. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you, Tatyana.
Thank you.